This is Midnight and the Mouse by Gillian Rogerson. In a burrow beneath an old oak tree, a young mouse called Millie refused to go to bed. She told her mum she wasn't the tiniest bit tired, and she told her dad she wanted to go outside and play. She said she was going to stay up all night. Millie's mum and dad tried everything to get their little mouse to sleep. A cup of warm milk in Millie's favourite mug, a soothing lullaby from her dad, and lots of warm hugs. But nothing worked on Millie. Millie's mum decided there was only one thing left to do. She collected 3 acorn tops from the far side of the burrow and took them outside. She carefully placed them on the grass beneath the branches of the old oak tree. Then she waited. For the creatures of Sleepy Forest know magical help is always available to those who need it. And one way to summon that help is by placing 3 acorn tops outside a home. Within seconds, assistance arrived for Millie's mum in the shape of a small fairy. The fairy's silver wings fluttered gently. She was wearing a dress, the colour of the night sky, and a dark blue velvet pouch hung around her waist. The fairy looked at Millie's mum and softly said, "You called for me?" "I did," Millie's mum answered. "My little one won't go to sleep. Can you help me, please?" "Indeed I can. Where is the restless one?" Millie popped her head out of the burrow. Her eyes widened when she saw the fairy. The fairy's eyes twinkled like stars as she looked at Millie. "Hello, my name is Midnight. I'm a sleep fairy. I'm going to help you fall asleep tonight." "I'm not tired," Millie replied. "I know," the fairy said with a smile. "Come with me." Millie looked at her mum to see if it was okay to go with the fairy. Her mum gave her a tired nod. Midnight took Millie by the paw and they headed into the moonlit forest. Millie's whiskers twitched as they walked along. She'd never been out of the burrow at night before. The air smelled different, and Millie wasn't sure if she liked it. Millie asked the fairy where they were going. Midnight replied, "It seems to be a night when many mums and dads are having trouble getting their babies to sleep. We're going to help them." "How?" Millie asked. With a mysterious smile, Midnight said, "You'll see." Midnight led Millie over to the hedgerow where a family of hedgehogs lived. The baby hedgehogs were asking their mother for another bedtime story, but the mother had already told them 2 stories, and she just could not think of another tale to tell her baby. Midnight saw what was happening and reached into the velvet pouch, which was tied around her waist. She pulled out a handful of rainbow-coloured glitter and gently cast it into the air. The glitter caught on a breeze and floated towards the mother hedgehog. The shimmering sparkles landed on her prickles, shone brightly for a second, and then melted. The mother hedgehog suddenly smiled at her babies and said, "Let me tell you the tale about the 100-year-old hedgehog who had the power to grant wishes. Once upon a time, in a land not far from here, there lived the most magical creature." Millie and Midnight stayed nearby and listened to the captivating story. One by one, the young hedgehogs started to drift off to sleep. Millie felt her eyes growing heavy too. Midnight whispered to Millie, "Are you ready for sleep?" Millie's eyes opened. She shook her head. "I'm not tired." The fairy nodded. "Okay, come with me." They came to a stop near a family of badgers next. The young badgers were running around the burrow while their parents looked on helplessly. Midnight pulled some glitter from her pouch and sent it fluttering towards the mum and dad badger. Millie wondered what was going to happen next. She soon found out. As the magical glitter landed on the parents, they started to sing. Soft, lilting notes came from both of them. The young badgers became as still as statues as the mesmerizing melody filled their home. The little badgers settled down and listened in complete silence as their mum and dad performed a dreamy duet. One by one, the babies fell asleep. Millie lay down and put her head on her paws. Midnight whispered to her, "Are you ready for sleep?" Millie stood up and said, "I'm not tired." The fairy nodded. "Okay, come with me. We have to check on the creatures of the forest." Under the light of the moon, Millie continued to walk with Midnight through Sleepy Forest. Together, they climbed a tree and checked on the snoozing squirrels who were snuggled between the branches. After that, Midnight and the mouse went down a hole at the edge of a glade. They walked along twisting tunnels until they found a family of resting rabbits. Their next journey took them to the far side of a meadow, where they found some deer dozing behind the hanging branches of a weeping willow tree. All over the forest came the hushed voices of parents saying, "Good night, sweet dreams, we love you." Midnight gave Millie a gentle smile and said, "Everyone is asleep." "I'm not," Millie said with a little yawn. Midnight took a handful of glitter from her pouch and gave half of it to Millie. She told the little mouse, "There's one more thing we have to do tonight." Millie looked at the glitter in her paw and asked, "What?" We need to send peaceful dreams around the forest. Watch. The fairy gently blew the glitter into the air. Millie did the same. The glitter twirled and whirled around the fairy and the mouse and surrounded them in a rainbow-coloured halo. Millie watched in amazement as one fuzzy image after another appeared on the sparkling curtain in front of her. "What's happening?" Millie asked. Midnight explained. "These are what creatures of the forest dream about. Let's send these dreams on their way." She slowly moved her hands back and forth through the air, as if conducting an orchestra. Millie copied her. The rainbow-coloured sparkles grouped together and made dream bubbles. Inside each bubble, images began to move. The dream bubble floated closer to Millie. She saw a smiling otter inside it. He was lying on his back and floating down a river. The faint tinkling sound of water came from the bubble. The river slowly carried the otter under a wooden bridge. Reflections of the water danced on the underneath of the bridge. The otter continued floating along and passed by a field full of purple plants. The peaceful scent of lavender wafted towards Millie and made her whiskers twitch. She felt the gentle heat of the sun on her fur, as if she were actually inside the dream bubble with the otter. Her little body felt warm and weightless as she continued to watch the otter drift downstream. A soft wind caught the dream bubble and sent it on its way. Another bubble came close. Millie saw a laughing frog inside it. The frog was joyfully leaping from lily pad to lily pad across a pond. His laughter was light and infectious, and Millie found herself laughing along with him. The dream bubble rose from her and went on its way. A third bubble appeared. Inside was a mole walking through a moonlit meadow. He was looking left and right, as if searching for someone. Out of the shadows came another mole. She smiled shyly. "My love," the first mole called out, "will you dance with me on this fine evening?" "Of course I will, my sweetheart," the other one replied. As the moon looked down, the love-struck moles moved towards each other, their paws outstretched. The couple held paws as they danced lightly around the meadow. Watching them, made Millie's heart feel full of love. She let out a happy sigh, which caused the dream bubble to glide away. The next bubble showed a wise-looking owl perched at the top of a tree. She was chatting to the full moon. "Isn't it a beautiful evening?" the owl said. "It certainly is," the moon replied. "But don't you think the stars could look a little brighter?" The owl tipped her head to one side, looked closer at the stars, and said, "Perhaps." The moon asked the owl if she would be kind enough to polish the stars for him. "Not all of them," the moon said with a smile. "Just these ones nearby." The owl fluffed up her feathers before taking to the sky. Using her wings, she gently cleaned the stars until they sparkled like diamonds. Once she was satisfied that enough stars had been polished, the owl returned to the tree. In happy harmony, the owl and the moon gazed at the sky and agreed it looked extra enchanting that night. Millie's eyes felt very tired as she watched the bubble slip up into the dark sky. Her heavy legs couldn't take another step. She lay down and said to the fairy, "I'm tired. I know it's time for you to go home." Midnight softly stroked Millie's head. "We don't have to walk back." For the last time that night, Millie took some glitter from her pouch. She sprinkled it on the ground. A rainbow-colored cloud appeared above the grass. The fairy helped Millie onto the cloud. It felt soft, warm and snuggly. Midnight sat next to Millie and tucked the cozy cloud around the mouth like a blanket until only Millie's little face peeked out. The cloud rose smoothly from the ground and headed skyward. Millie couldn't keep her eyes open a moment longer. She turned on her side and curled up into a ball. Midnight kissed the top of Millie's head and whispered, "Go to sleep, little. It won't be long till..." Millie snuggled down even further in the cloud. It felt like a warm hug. Sleep came closer to her as the cloud drifted across the night sky. A small smile came to Milly's face as she heard the distant hoot of an owl, and she wondered if owls really did polish stars. Night-time sound carried on the whispering wings as the fairy and the mouse headed towards the burrow beneath the old oak tree. More dream bubbles floated in the night sky as gentle as wishes. Milly didn't see them, but the little fairy did. Midnight smiled when she saw the carefree animals inside the bubbles. There were going to be a lot of restful sleeps in Sleepy Forest tonight. Before too long, Milly felt herself being lifted from the cloud by her dad's familiar arm. She was taken into her cozy burrow and placed in her warm bed. She sighed happily as Milly drifted off into a deep and happy slumber. She heard her mum and dad say, "Good night, sweet